Hello, welcome to Scrap Time. My name is Christine, and in this video I'm going to show you 2 ways to use Brusho. In this video I'm going to be playing with Brusho, and I'm going to show you how you can use it on a dry card and on wet. So those are the 2 different ways. Brusho are pigments, pigment powders. They come in little bottles, and I punched some holes to make it easy to shake them on. You don't need a lot of it. Once you buy a bottle, it'll last you years. And because it's just a pigment powder, it's not really going to go bad. So it is a good investment in terms of having it for a long period of time. I bought a set of 6 that has a sunburst lemon, orange, crimson, violet, turquoise, and a sea green. So I thought that was a good starter pack. And the other thing interesting you can see in this, like say the orange, it has yellow as well as oranges. It's not just solid colors, and that's what I really liked about these as well. So let's get started so you can see what happens. So I am using watercolor card. Especially because we're going to be adding lots of water, I like to stick with watercolor paper mediums. And here we'll stick with our yellow, blue, and green. So as I mentioned, I just put a little hole on top. I've seen some people will put a tack just to keep it in so none falls out. And it just makes it easy for sprinkling because you see it's just a bit of powder. And you don't need a lot of the powder. So that was my blue. I'm going to put some. And because it's powder, it's so random. You're not going to get the same look every time. You might get something similar because you use similar colors, but each one is going to be a completely different outcome. So then I have my spray bottle, and I like to spray from up high so it doesn't blow all the powders. And you can see as I spritz, and then I'll start to come lower once the powders are sort of in place. Now depending how much water you put on will depend on the look. So as you see here, I'm just spritzing little water. I'm just getting a little design. If I completely fill it with water, then the colors will blend more. But I sort of like it like that. That's really cool because I'll show you here. I put a lot of water and you see the colors just sort of blended together. Whereas here you get to see all those little nibbly things or whatever you want to call them, which I think is sort of cool. So I think I'm just going to leave it like that and dry it up because that's the look I want. But of course you could add more water and make it more full for a different look. So here is that card dry, and you can see once it's dry some of those bits sort of blended a bit, but I still like the different little splatters going on, and I'm happy I didn't add more water. I like the amount of mixing we have here. So now for step 2 is on wet. So what I have here is my watercolor card again, and this time I'm going to spray it ahead of time. And now I'm going to make sure it's nice and wet. I'm going to put my colors into it. So I'm using the other colors now. So here I have orange. And you can see as soon as those colors hit that water, they start moving around. I'm going to put a little bit more color on this one. I'm going to layer the colors a bit. So now here's that pink. And I just love how the colors move on the water. And if it starts to get dry, you can always do a bit more water, but it's best if you have the water as the base. Now, so here's the interesting thing though, is I think I'm going to need a little more water. Is sometimes when you put the color over top of another color, it pushes it out of the way. So that's what I like to experiment. I'll bring yellow because, well, yellow and purple don't always work well together. But here, I think that purple absorbed the water. I think that's what happens. Now you might want to tape down your card because you can see my card is bending, and then the color is just sort of rolling to the edge. So you might want to tape your card down. You can just layer some more color. I'm probably getting too much color on here now. But there, you can see the difference when it's already wet, how the colors activate on that wet versus when we sprayed them later. So I'll dry this and then I'll just show you our final card. I have dried the card and you can see we have this like sunburst of colors or fireworks of colors, I guess. And I just want to point out though, on this method, because your pigment is getting just put into the water and not coming back in and activating it, you do get like these dots here. The darker spots there is actually still the pigment powders. And so it gives you another level of texture to your piece, which you don't get when you spritz after. So here are our two finished pieces. This one here was the dry pigment onto the dry card versus the dry pigment onto the wet card. And you can see how when you put on the wet, it has a lot more of those bursts, like the firework bursts. Whereas here it's a little bit more controlled, I guess, in a way. So it's two different looks, both using Brusho powders and water. So give it a try. Thanks for watching. Be sure to give our video a thumbs up and subscribe to Scrap Time videos on YouTube. In the meantime, here are a couple other videos you might be interested in watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.